Let's see, the audio level should be fine. Hello everyone, I almost forgot to set the microphone. Let me add the webcam and let's get going. Right, stop the live video playback. Hey Zane, thanks for joining. Okay, let's make some RPG today. So, we're working on this project, the Godot turn-based RPG demo. I have to say thanks to, what's your name? R-Luders, who went to open some PRs and sorry, I closed, like the second one was fine, it was just lacking some code, but yesterday GitHub was bugged and when I replied, I clicked the comment and close button instead of comment, and the state of GitHub was completely messed up, so I couldn't fix it. I couldn't undo the change and all, so well, now it's a bit too late because I've been working on it yesterday, but we have an RPG game, a base demo made with Godot 3.1, so if you ever want to download it, be careful about that. You need an alpha build, and yeah, it's working. The characters are attacking each other, the monsters, and also the victory and combat end conditions work. So combat stops when all of the members on one party, either the monsters or the player's party, are all dead. The combat stops. We have life bars, we have the health working, we have also this that I added just yesterday. How did I call them? Yeah, it's in the jobs folder. So for example, fighter now is a resource starting stats.gd. So, very simple, but starting to add some reusable resources that you can create from these scripts here, and we can add properties to the character. So we could, for example, if we want to add some speed here, hold on. Shortcuts bugged. Let me, I feel the current build doesn't like full screen. Okay, I'm going to reopen the project. How many persons are there? 7. Yeah, it's really not the best time I feel to stream. But there's no one around the kitchen right now, so I can stream, and that's the reason I'm doing so. Let's see if I do this. Okay, I can duplicate the lines again. So, let me show you that. We're going to open the fighter job. For now, it's only starting statistics, but if I add something like speed, it's going to appear in the inspector. So I can say this character has a speed of 5, whatever, the fighter. These are the characters, the job's base statistics. And so you feed them into the battlers. For example, Blue and Dan both have the fighter class at the moment. So they have a job node that will rename itself automatically based on the current job. Let me just see, is it? No, it's working, no problem. So the battlers have this job node, and the job takes some starting stats that you can drag and drop in there, and then you can expand them and see the content of the resource. Hey Bridget, it's Bridget, right? Hey, SPK King R? Yeah, hi. I mean, I know you from your avatar, but our buddy from China, right? But how do you read your nickname? You have to tell me, I'm not sure. Okay, so you can add base stats for the characters, and for example, we could sort the battlers in the combat based on that speed value. It's something that's fairly easy to add to the turn queue, but I'm not going to add that just yet. Or, well, should we do that? I think it's an open issue on the tracker, right? Use stats to inflict and take damage, so see the starting stats and job notes. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, Luders was coming to give a hand on this project. Okay, so today we're going to work on that, definitely adding a little cursor to select the target, so add the ability to select the target during combat, start and end transition for the combat, intro sequence, so having the characters arrive, and we're going to add combat sort turn order based on the characters, the battlers' speed. Okay, and we're going to do this in a simple way, but this is really for the sake of tutorials, because I'm sure that someone will want to do that and will ask how to do it. All right, let me close the window. Wow, and this one as well. Whoops, sorry. Turn order based on the battler's speed. Josh is asking, have you tried using the board on GitHub? Project tab, right? Yeah, definitely. The thing is, I'm mostly working alone for now, so it's not really worth it. With these issues, I have integration in Emacs, so I can manage all my Git commits and all from there on all projects in the same way. I'm not doing it on stream in general, but yeah, it's the cabin boards on GitHub are nice, but it will be nicer to organize when you start to have multiple persons working on things and you start to have a backlog of pull requests and all. Okay, turn order based on the battler's speed. This one is going to be based around the turn queue. So, the turn queue is what manages the character's turns and works in the simplest way. It takes the order. Hold on, where's the combat arena? Right here. It takes the order of the nodes in the tree, but right now they are not sorted, or rather they are sorted based on how you added the node to the turn queue. And the idea here is to take the character's speed and to sort them based on that. So, func sort battlers, let's say, and we're going to take for, we're going to get the children, and get children should give us an array. So, sorted battlers is going to be get children dot sort sort custom, and then we need an object and a string function. So let me see the doc for that. Sort the array using a custom method. The arguments are an object that holds the method and the name of the method. Custom method receives 2 arguments, a pair of elements from the array, and must return true if the first argument is less than the second. Return false otherwise. Okay, so it's going to be on self, so on the turn queue, and sort custom self, we're going to use sort battlers here. It's not going to be on play turn, it's going to be on, well, I guess on the ready method call we can do it. Hold on, is there some yeah, there is some initialize method here, so we're going to put that in an initialize method for now. Okay, sorted battlers, we're going to sort the children using a custom function. It's going to take a pair. It's going to take a pair of arguments, so yeah, it's A, B. And on the battler, I want to get the speed. So how do I access that already? It's a bit, as well, making an RPG, you want to break things down, like the character, using composition, for example, the character has a job, and the job right now holds the starting stats, and you have actions that are separate, etc. Getting started, this increases the complexity of the code a little bit, but at the same time, it makes it more scalable moving forward, although there will be some refactoring along the way. So from the job, hold on, so the battler has skin, actions, it has the stats, okay. I have a reference to the stats, which is a character stats class, so, but I'm working from the turn. Okay, so I'm going to get stats, and then stats. Is it called stats.gd? Okay, should be character stats, really. Let me rename that. So I'm going to access the character stats, and I think first I'm going to add the speed. And it's going to grab this from starting stats, so speed equals stats.speed. What else? Okay, so we add the speed to the character stats, then we're going to sort the battlers based on that. So I'm going to take return a dot stats. Okay, so it's going to be battlers. Ah, come on, don't crash on me. Yeah, this is alpha software, right? It's pretty stable so far. I haven't had too much trouble with Godot 3.1 alpha, but it is an alpha after all. Okay, so starting stats. Then we want to go get stats, character stats. Okay, we just lost the changes here. So I'm going to initialize the speed. All right. And we go back to the turn Q, and okay, we lost the changes here. So sort battlers A and B, and I want the two of you to be of type battlers. So A is a battler, B is going to be a battler as well, and it's going to return a boolean value. So we'll return whether a.stats. It's going to be speed is greater than b.stats.speed. Okay, so the way I'm coding this, by the way, is inspired by what I see in Python and the way Godot's API works since Godot 3, where instead of using getters and setters, you just access the properties. Meaning that as you change the properties, you're going to break things in your scripts, but now you have the ability to find things in the entire project. So for example, if I go with .speed here, I can do find and replace. So I can do a find here, and it's going to give me the places, well, in the code base where I have the speed identifier, and I can look for whole words to look for the identifiers. So I do a find, and in the bottom panel, I get all the instances of speed, and from there, I can do a replace. And you can do that here and replace in the entire project. What next? I do need to check that this custom sorting is working. Like that's a sort custom. It's okay. So 2 arguments must return true if the first argument is less than the second. True if the first argument. Okay, so return true if the first argument is less than the second. Makes sense. Slumber Studios asking, as someone who's never done serious programming before, should I learn Python first or go straight in GDScript? Don't go straight into game development. Godot is a complex tool. You're going to get stuck a lot, and you're going to be looking for step-by-step tutorials, which are for a fair part going to lead you into the wall. So really, if you want to code games, learn to code first, learn to make games afterwards, because when you get into a game engine, it uses lots of programming techniques that assume that you have programming foundations already. I wrote a complete article and made a video tutorial about that, so go watch that. It's called How to Learn to Code. And you have both the full guide and I'm not sure, maybe it wasn't you because a few persons asked me that question in private and I sent the full reply, but okay. So here's the full video, how to learn to code. Ah, come on, I messed up. Here's the link again. There you go. And in the description of that video, you will find a long written text that explains why I recommend that you start with Python. Okay, so let's create a new function called, I'll call it initialize as well. It's going to, so the thing is the turn order eventually can change based on boosts. For example, if you use a spell to gain speed on your characters, but for now, doesn't matter, it's really not the most important thing, but we're going to take, so var sorted battlers is equal to get children, so it's going to get me the list of all the battlers in the turn queue, dot sort custom, using self, using sort battlers here, and what? Sign type, what? Add sort custom, call 1, sign type turn queue doesn't match the function's argument type, object, what? Let's see, did I not get how this is supposed to work? Sort custom. Do you have to create a class? Like a sub... Arguments are an object that holds the method. Yeah, and so self is an object. Well, okay, maybe class battler sorter. Let's just go ahead and do that. Assign type GDScript doesn't match the function's argument type. What's the way to extend object? Is it how you write it in a... this looks like a bug. Okay, to me this looks weird. What if I set you to extend object? It's not a node anymore if I do that. Okay, if I have a node. Yeah, that's a bug. Well, normally it's like, does it crash the game? Yeah, it seems, okay. Josh, replying to Slumber Studio, says, let me bring you here for a second. Python's a decent place to start to learn. It's a simple enough language. There are lots of tutorials and documentation available for it. Just moving on to that. So Python is a complex language like many others. One thing though is it has a big community, and you have lots of fairly standardized and good resources to learn from. You have a strong style guide that's used throughout the Python community, which is a worldwide community, so that's all the more impressive. So that's quite important. Then it's more important to learn logic, Josh says, algorithms and data structures than it is to master a specific language. Once you get to a certain point, you can learn a new language in an afternoon. So regarding that, I get what Josh is saying, and this is partly true, although by language here he means the language's base syntax. And when you learn a language, there's the base syntax that you can learn pretty quickly and that a lot of beginners call learning a language. But learning a language is learning the language's features, how they relate to core programming techniques. For example, Python has these ideas of modules and packages you can use to do what C++ would have to do with classes sometimes. Like you can do a lot of things that you can't necessarily do with other languages. And languages come with a standard library. So just like the Godot game engine comes with all kinds of nodes and features to help you make your games, a language has the same thing. Python comes with lots of tools you can use to create programs that are really powerful, and learning that takes a lot of time. You can do a class inside of a file in Godot. Yes, you can do that. It's not very useful, to be fair, in our classes, but you can. And yes, this is Godot 3.1. Malik says, try getting rid of the type in the sort method. I don't see why that would do something, but now, as you'd expect, it shouldn't be related, but okay. No, I think it's just bugged. It's not recognizing that self-extend. Ah! Closing and reopening the script fixed it. Okay, perfect. Let's just see if the game runs now. Turn queue doesn't fix. Yeah, okay, seems like a bug. Alright, how are we going to do this then? I wanted to use sort custom. That's a pain. Because if I just use sort, I guess it's going... I don't know how it's going to sort them, actually. Okay, so... I don't want to add a sorting algorithms. A sorting algorithm. Let me check the Godot issue tracker. Working with alpha software. Let's go look for sort custom. When you use this with a typed array variable, it generates. Use sort custom on any type array. Okay. what's the issue then? Because when I do get children, removing the argument types though didn't. Because the first argument is supposed to match the types of the arguments to your sorting method, and self is not a battle. No, it's not like that. It's saying that it doesn't match the function's argument type object. Like, so it doesn't match sort custom that's expecting an object, and this is a bug definitely, but I'm not using the type hint, so let's see in the closed issues, by the way, because passing a class 11 days ago, so my build should be more recent than that. So then self-assign the issue. Okay. I'm just going to say get children returns an array of nodes, but okay, that would be that. Okay, so let's see. But it's going to assign a type if I do that as well, even if I don't give the type hint. So for child in get children, battlers.append. Let's see if I can fix the issue here. Is equal to battlers.sort custom. Yeah, okay. So it's that when I call get children. Okay. So I'm going to copy that. Just send this to net. So hold on. I'm going to go back to that. All right. Paste this code here. Okay, so just leaving a note. I don't know if it's useful. Example, get children is getting a list of nodes. List of battlers custom class that extends from nodes, but I'm using type. I'm not specifying the type, as you can see. Screenshot. Let's do this. Because it's different from what people are saying, yet it seems related to the issues. And I'm going to edit, add a little thing. Okay. Alright, sorry for the little delay on the stream, but it's quite important to report these kinds of issues. So if you don't report the bugs, they can't be fixed. It's that simple. All right, so we can circumvent the error this way. All right, and as you can see, types work in sort battlers. It's just here. Now I'm going to test this out. So function ready. At the moment, the porcupines come before the characters. And we want to sort the battlers. Then we're going to do for battler in sorted battlers dot. Normally it should give me the characters first. So one way I can do this is like that. Reverse battler.raise. Okay, and on the return call, we're going to add a breakpoint to see what this gives us. Non-existent function base nil. Okay, let's see. Okay, so battlers is an array of empty things. What? Yeah, you can cast objects to different types. You use the as keyword for that. Slumber Studio, I'm just confused on how programmers learn to code in the first time. Do they take courses, make little projects, or what? They do all of that, and more importantly, they work. And if you want to learn as fast as possible, you've got to read code. Static function. Yeah, I don't know if this is necessary. Now it doesn't change a thing. Anyway, the problem here is my battlers array is empty. Let's add a breakpoint after the loop. I don't get a breakpoint without an instruction. Okay, so let's print the battlers. Breakpoint, and our battlers array is empty. So it does have a size of 5. It did store the active battler properly. So it looped over all the children, but it could not append to the array. So let's see what's happening here. Oh, it's funny. Okay, so var battlers, it has to be an array, that's the problem. Okay, let's print get children. Should print me an array. Ah, yeah, but as it's, yeah, if I put the breakpoint here, it's not going to work. Yeah. All right. Wait. So Josh Taylor, I do notice that the example of sort custom is using a static function. It's not referring to a specific instance of the class that the static function is in. I just tried doing, yeah, it doesn't, no, right now I'm just appending the children to an array and they are not in the array. The array is empty. Pen child as battler. There's no reason for that to work over. Typing is optional, so now I don't see. array doesn't care about what the type of the individual elements is. Okay, what if I do this? So battlers equals get children. Sorry, so I get the passing error. Okay, so I don't get the passing error when I do that. But look, so if I print get children, I get the output, no problem, but I can't store it in an array. Let's see, get children, what do you... And it does return an array. What? Okay, let's look at sort methods. What do we have to work with? Nothing. And the thing is, I really need that... Ah, come on, stop asking for tutorials all the time, people. Specific... I don't make tutorials to fix one person's problems. Why not battlers equals get children? Well, because we're trying to work around a bug right now. Is this gonna be formalized as a tutorial series? There's going to be tutorials, yeah, but looking at the complexity of the system, I don't know how I'm going to approach this just yet, because I wanted to do more beginner-friendly tutorials, but this is not beginner-friendly at all. Well, making an RPG is not something beginners in development should tackle, or you can do small components one at a time, but the battle system and making something scalable where you can add new monsters, new skills, new items, and all that stuff, it's pretty complex. Okay, turns out sorting in a custom order is problematic. Alright, and battlers.get children, does it work? Do I get the... I don't get the error? Okay, maybe sometimes, you know, you also have to restart the editor. Parsing can get a little bugged or jagged. Now look, the array is... It won't store the result in this variable. And the problem is, if I add the get children back here, it's not going to work. Yeah, you get... Because get children returns an array. But if I print the result of get children... Okay, so if I print get children, it works. If I print battlers, it doesn't. So I think... now my battlers array seems... Okay, so this time around my battlers array seems to work, but if I use the debugger, it... Malik is saying it's in place. That would make sense. Okay. That would make a lot of sense. Let's see that. Let's just look at battle. Okay, so maybe then the bug is in the debugger. It can't show the battlers here. Is that the issue? Battler is null as well. Okay, let's just print battlers after the sort custom. Let's print it before and after. So we've printed it here. Both arrays are the same. Let's see. And okay, I've got to do it on the next step. All right. No, it's not in place. It's not in place, or it's not worked in this case. Let's see. And sort custom has returned null. Okay, so is it in place? Hold on. Returns void. So yeah, it should be in place. Okay, it's in place. Thanks, Malik. Hi, Rodzilla. You cannot randomize the return value, blah blah blah, doesn't matter, but A should be lower than B. You return true. So you return A.stats.speed is lower, strictly lower than B.stats.speed. Let's look, does everyone have, hold on the job, the porcupine has a speed of 0. So that should be fine. The order should change just because the characters are faster than the porcupine, but they are after the porcupine in the array, so okay, first I'm going to make to print the names. So print battlers, print battlers, and it's going to be for child in get children. Okay, we're going to build a string. And string plus equals. Do you have a join? No, you don't. It's not Python. Okay, so string plus equals the name. So child.name plus a space. And this way we're going to print battlers 2 times, before and after the custom sort, because we can't use the debugger to look at the array at the moment. And obviously you've got to print that string, otherwise it's not going to print anything. All right, so let's look at the output. Yeah, you see the order did not change after the sort custom. So this is probably me messing something up. A has to... You want to check that A is smaller than B. So it's taking the battlers and sorting them by speed, but... You're printing on... So, yeah, excuse me. It's true. Stupid. Okay. Battler and battlers. But same result. Alright, it's not working for now. Let me think, what could be the issue? I'm trying to see at this point. Maybe stick a debugger, breakpoint in the method to check that it gets called. Let's try this. We're going to step through it. A and B. So A is... Sorry. Oula. Come on. Calm down, Godot. Okay. Didn't like that. Let's reopen the project. All right, play again. Oh, you don't have reverse in... Okay. Anyway, array dot... Don't have reverse. I thought you had a reverse function, Godot. Move, resize, invert. All right. Okay, but anyway, we want to add a breakpoint here in our sorting function and see A, B. Okay, I don't get the return return value here. So stats, I have a speed of 2. Yeah, that's a porcupine. And stats, I have on this one, I can't access it. I can access it. So okay, so B is A is not strictly lower than B, so it's going to return true. Let's see. This changes something. Curious to see. It's showing strictly lower, but I get results if I change the operator. Hold on. Because the thing is, but no, it's not. It's messed up. I really don't see. Along with the name, print out the battler's speed. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Plus name. Plus, going to print the speed in parentheses like that. Battler.stats.speed plus this. Two, 2, 5. Well, I need the exact opposite, so how about I do just that? How about the docs are not exactly correct? Yeah, you can... Alright, so you can just choose the sort order actually with sort custom. You don't need the first element to be lower than the second. Okay, so it's going to sort in... I got it. My bad. I got it. Sorry, people. It's working. It's just that it's sorting from the lowest to the highest value. And I expected the opposite. But this is due to the operator you use here. And you don't have to... Well, I just have to invert the array afterwards and then raise the battlers. So actually, if I do battlers.invert after the sort custom, then I'm going to get what I expect. So, okay, let's do this. If I want the array from the largest to the lowest speed value, so highest value first, I can do it this way. All right, then there was an error here. In battlers, no problem. Okay, so I'm trying to raise the nodes. Turn Q, Dan and blue. What? The monsters are dead? Okay, we already slaughtered everyone. So let's see the game. One porcupine has attacked first, but yeah, the attack order is working. So normally what we're going to do right now is have this. Look at that. Look at that. So we have the turn order here in the local tree. And if I go to remote, it works. It works. Neru4All is asking if this stays on YouTube later. Yeah, it does. It does. Print. Okay, so I don't want to print the speed necessarily, but let's call it print the Q. Well, yeah, with the speed, it could be nice. Print the Q. And yeah, replace, and we're going to put you at the end, and this time we want to use that get children. And this way we can print the turn queue anytime. It's a nice function, so you have the characters who are going to attack next. Malik says it'd be more efficient to flip the comparison operator than inverting after sorting. Yeah, sure. It's just the docs tell you to do things in a certain way. Well, I guess the docs are not fully correct in this case. All right, anyway, let's go commit that change because it fixed. I just have to then after active battler is going to be empty. Active battler is going to be of type battler, but we want to set it at the end of initialize. So active battler is equal to get child 0. There we go. And we don't need to print turn Q. Just going to add a doc string here. Thank you very much for the help. So prints the order, the turn order, the battlers, and that speed in the turn order. Okay. Don't know if I should. I'm not sure I should keep that, but all right. Let's commit all that to the project. This is RPG in Godot, and we need, what did we change? We changed the job, so okay, we're going to add all the job files and add the, what did we do with stats? No, not starting stats. I want battlers. Okay, just rename. Okay. I see. Okay. Get diff stage files. Change the speed on the characters. Rename one file. Updated the dependency, so. Add speed characteristics characteristic to the characters, to the battlers. I want to see project.godot changed. What changed? Ah, sure. Okay, so I need to actually add my project.godot to the previous commits. And sort battlers in turn queue based on speed, which closes which one? Good evening, Bastion, and see you later, Malik. Thanks again. Turn order based on the battler's speed closes 10. I'm going to push that right now. So then we have selecting targets during combat, which is the biggest thing to add right now. So at the moment, what did I do? Did I change something? Hold on. What did I change? Nothing changed, right? Okay. It's working, right? Did I break something? I changed the function order maybe before. Yeah, so anyway, things are working now. How are you doing, Bastion? When are we doing the next collab? So Bastion is the absolutely outstanding developer who makes these advanced tutorials about he worked a lot on virtual reality for Godot. So you can thank him for that. And on GD Native, one of the, I think like GD Native is really a special feature for Godot. I don't know, there's probably some other engine or tool that has something similar, but the fact that you can use a low-level language that easily, it's quite specific to Godot. By the way, Bastion, so I'm finishing the Godot course now, then going on vacation because my parents are coming to Japan. I'm going to take a week off at last, but then around the end of November and throughout December, starting then, I'll have a lot more time, and we are going to do a new crowdfunding campaign. So around that time, I'll be making a lot of videos. So if you happen to have time at that point, you know, I would gladly do something with you on 3D shaders and just anything really. Okay, so I just want a small cursor. Do I have a drawing program launched? No, we're just going to draw a small thing in Affinity Designer, and I'm going to make some hot milk. I'm right next to you. Just be right back. Well, I'm going to take I can take the mic. So this way you can still hear me, even if I'm not in front of the computer. Hot, I say milk, but almond drink, very light. It's one thing that's really nice and changes from water and coffee a little bit. By the way, I went to, I found that, which it'll be in one of the next videos, but now I have my GD Quest ball. Like, hold on, can you see? Yeah, you can see it on camera. This is so cool. This is Japan. You find this is like $1. You know, these kinds of things. You find lots of cute things for very cheap. And as the GD Quest characters are bears, I was like, well, Okay, we have to get this. Okay, it's still a little cool. Let's see if there are any messages right now. Okay, Bastian saying for a collab, December sounds good. Well, taking note of it. I'm slowly getting in touch with everyone to organize the future collaborations. You know, we've done one collab with Mike. We definitely want to do more, but we are all busy, right? So there would definitely be one with Chris, Kids Can Code, and then there are just the people who work at GD Quest now. So Guilherme, he'll definitely be around to do collab videos. All right, so let's open. I had that prototype project, which is quite convenient because I have the monster size, as you can see. All right, and we're going to make triangle. Pointing to the right by default. I'm going to round you out, give you a nice color. Do we make you white, grayscale, so we can color you in Godot? So I've looked at how games handled that, by the way, because having that arrow at the right place in front of the character doing something like that is actually a little painful. And I noticed that you have those games where the characters are always at the same place, or you have them lined up like that, which makes it a lot easier to place the arrow, I think. But if the monsters can be of any size, and you may have them on the board like this, for example, and have this one be that big, you know, be something really big, then it starts to eat the arrow a little bit. So yeah, it's actually finding the position in front of the monster. I've started to implement that, so the characters, actually the monsters at the start of the game, they get offset, or the anchor position is offset in front of them, so battlers can go attack. I was looking at a lot of games just do characters attacking from here, you know, from a distance, and going to attack, going in front of the monster, attacking, getting the right amount of stagger based on the monster's size and all. This is all a little extra. These are all extra problems to solve, right? How about that cursor? We're going to add a small stroke. I don't want... Why do you have pressure? Don't want any pressure in here, and out a stroke in between. Someone's asking, Yobi saying, I have to admit, teaching kids to code can be fun. Do you do that? I don't know too many people who do that. Teaching them to code games is probably a big challenge. Then there's someone asking, which program is this? Affinity Designer. Yeah, that's... But later, this is just for prototyping real quick, because I have this setup from the Godot course, but next I'm going to use Krita. Moving forward with pretty much all projects. That's the goal. Okay. Let's grab our select arrow here. And let's see, what are we going to do? So the select arrow, I just wanted to animate a little bit to be able to place it a few places, but besides that, how do we're going to get the list of characters from the turn queue using the combat arena, and the select arrow will be on the combat interface layer, just so that it comes. Hold on, I'm going to deactivate snapping. It's Shift S now. Oh, we have a scale tool for 2D. What? What? Okay, cool. Finally. And yeah, so the arrow is in front of everything on that layer. So select arrow, it's going to have an animation, not an animation tree, an animation player. It's part of interface, right? Interface, but it's combat interface. So here and select arrow. And now I can animate you from here. I'm going to reset the transform to 0. The ability to tab back and forth between properties. Such a big life improvement. I love it. All the small things. I'm very sensitive to these simple things. And Yubi, now I'm just a software engineer. I think I wish I could go back to do that. It's less stressful than being a one-person software dev team. Okay, so you create your own programs. Well, if you are self-employed, one of the points of doing that is that you can choose what you do and you can always switch careers. Now it depends on your goals, on the money you want to live, because in education, let's be honest, it's hard to make a living. For me, for the first 2 years, I didn't make a living of GD Quest, and even now it works because I don't have a family, I don't need a car, I live with simple things. But if you need, I don't know, a $2,000 or more salary, you have to pick your topics really well. Be sure to secure money at first. But yeah, if you're a software engineer, and you can make a lot of money with software development, so do that part-time and start to do education part-time as well on the side. Okay, so let's have a setup animation just to have the default location. Okay, the insert key doesn't work. Okay, because the sprite isn't selected. Okay. Cool. You're doing work for a big company. Not sure when where the NDA stops or starts. Okay. I see. But yeah, you're doing contracted work then. So I guess. Well, there again, you can, with software development, knowing the rates, I mean, you can make 1 year's worth of money in 2 to 3 months if you find the right client, or less than that, even in less time than that. So if you make a big project over 1 year, you can get 1 or 2 years or more doing whatever you want. So that's also an option to always consider. Okay, we're going to have a looping animation of the arrow going back and forth. Let's set you to loop. Now these shortcuts work. This is great. We're going to have you going back and forth. So go back first, and we want to change the keys. Obviously, I can only change one at a time. Change the easings a little bit. It's not looking too good. right now. So I need you to be much shorter then. Not as bouncy. And not going that far, more importantly. Has to be subtler. There you go. Okay, and that's it. Do we need anything else? Nope, I think not. Alright, so now we're going to need a bit of script for this one. So, here's how it's going to work. I need to go first initialize. I want you, first you initialize the battlers, then you're going to get the turn queue and call it initialize manually. Then the battle can start. So set the battle to active, play the turn. We get the active battler. Set it to selected. What does it? I think setting to selected makes it blink. Should it be selected? Okay, so we get the targets. And then we're going to yield. So the question is that do we send the targets to the arrow and it just works by itself, like moves all by itself around the field? Yeah, we're going to do that for now. So to get the arrow, select arrow. Okay, so in the combat arena, we're going to keep a reference to, well, I could just send it to the interface, right? Say yield interface, and well, interface dot select targets and yield until the function completes. All right, and first we want to check if there are targets. So aha, we want the select target function to return. Do we get the return value from yield, or does it stop? What was the keyword for it? Yield. Because I think you have to use the yield keyword. You yield the value, but you don't get the result from a return, so can let it select a target. If I do that's the thing. If I do var target, it's expecting a battler like that, and I want to get the result from yield. Like so. I think it will wait for the yield keyword, but I don't remember. You have a full-time job, actually. That's different. Where are you working, by the way? I really need to hire someone to help me out. Too much software depends on me. Not sure what they'll do if I leave, to be honest. Well, at least this gives you some leverage to negotiate. But it depends on the company and where you are and your personality as well. And yeah, if you're getting burnt out, it's not good, because you're going to lose more of your life if you get burnt down. Like the work investment pressure is not worth it. It can really, if you do a full burnout, you're in for 1 to 3 years of your life lost, pretty much. I guess it depends on the case, but some of these stories, burnout stories I've heard like that. Okay, let's see if I get the return value from the function. We'll put a breakpoint here, print the target. And we're gonna go to the interface now, combat interface. Select the target. Select target is gonna get the battlers, so we're going to send the target, which is an array of battlers, and it's going to selectable battlers. It's going to return a battler. All right, and we're going to yield again, this time on the arrow. Hey, combat interface, you have a select arrow. There we go. So we're going to store you a variable. And select arrow dot select target. We're going to delegate the call for now. Completed. All right, so it's not their policy to basically not pay you more than you hire on. It's bad news bears all around. Sorry, I didn't get the last part of what you said. And everyone, if there are questions about Godot 3.1 or the project, or don't hesitate, or if you just want to chat, go ahead. Now, Yobi Gochida, do you happen, you're Japanese or nothing? It's completely unrelated. Let's see. All right, so I've got to add my select arrow script here. We're gonna store you in the combat interface folder, and we want to delegate select target. So yeah, I'm not going to yield here. All right, so we have selectable battlers. So we have a list of battlers. Now, for now, the targets are forced. You are forced to select. If you are a member of the party, you must select one of the monsters, and the monsters will attack a party member. You can't damage your own characters just yet with this code, but it's a small change later on if we want that. So we are going to... We need... How do we do that? So we need some kind of process loop. Okay, we're going to have a yield again, self, picked targets. we're going to use the input function. UI accept. We're going to emit the signal, pick target. Okay. Let's see if we store the targets here. I'm going to see. All right, so I have the 3 targets, and let's see if this works. I can get the value from the yield. Let's do this. All right, so we're going to let the player change the selected target. So we're going to take the first battler in the list. So place yourself at battler 0 on the first one. Yeah, I know it's not declared. Okay, so func place, well, move to battler to it just has to be no 2D really. Yeah, but I can't use move to a given node. So a given node 2D, and we are going to set the position. Well, global position is going to be node 2D, node's global position. We're going to call. So you're going to move to the first battler in the list. Then we're going to use the input event function to change your position at the moment. So if event dot is action pressed, we're going to use the UI event. So UI down, you're going to move to the next battler in the list. And that's where we're going to use target. So we're going to set the target to be battler 0. We're going to move to that target first. Then we're going to, well, we're not going to do that. Currently move to is just assigning the position, but if we want to animate that move, which we're probably going to do in a moment, we don't want to use move to here. We want to assign the position straight. So we're going to set the arrow in front of the target. Then if you press mouse down, you're going to rotate. We're going to take the okay, so we're going to store targets and selected. This is going to be an array. This is going to be a battler necessarily, and just going to work with battlers here everywhere. Okay, move to doesn't return anything. So the targets, we set it to the battlers that we get here, and we're going to do it like that. We're going to store some variables here. It will be a little easier. All right, so emit the selected target. And if we press UI down, we're going to take the targets list. We're going to find selected target. So it's going to, selected target. This is going to give us the index. So we're going to new index is equal to find target index. Going to equal targets.find the selected target, the current selected target. If we press UI down, we're going to add 1 to that index. So we're going to set selected target to targets, and the index is going to be, let's just have an index variable. So index +1 modulo targets.size. This way it's going to cycle back to the top of the screen, to the one at the top. And if instead we press UI up, we're going to do index -1 plus target.size modulo target.size. So we cycle the other way around. I forgot the plus sign. Let me check the chat for a second. No to the global position. Oh, sorry. So targets 0 global. I do have to set selected target to the first target here. Okay, I'll have to clean up that code afterwards, but for now, let's just make it work. Seems... Could it work this way? Let's try this. So I don't know if the yield is going to work the way I've tried to set this up. Okay, if I'm not trying the right scene, it's not going to work. So let's see. Select target and the arrow expected 1 argument. Selectable battlers. Come on. Okay, let's see. What do I have? What's the error? Okay, so instead of selected target here, I'm going to write this as selected active, selected battler. I don't know. It's not the selected target until you press enter, so we're going to have just a variable target then. Yeah, let's try it this way. And var selected target colon battler is going to be equal to yield. We wait for the signal to give us a value, and we're going to return that selected target. All right. And target will replace you with target active, something like that. All right. Hey, cat, Hi Draggy, hello from France, bonjour, bienvenue. Bastien, rounding off the workday, trying to get your head around Docker. Docker, that big technology that's used in software development, right? To create what's it for already? Link to that DevOps thing or whatnot. All right, let's see. I had a print here, but I removed it. Okay, so we yield here to target selected. Yeah, I do have to. When we changed. Okay, so one thing I can do is use a setter on target active to change the position. Well, no, I don't want to do that, so instead I'm going to call move to for now. So move to target active, both cases. Haha! It's working! Now the only problem obviously is to orient the arrow to point it in the right direction. So we get our breakpoint and selected target is the monster that we expect. I wish I would have the name. Okay, let's expand that and try to find the path. Yeah, it's the porcupine. The first one that I selected, so that's what I expect. And I do capture the return value from the yield keyword. So back to the interface, this should bubble up, combat interface. This should bubble up in this selected target here. So I'm going to add a breakpoint to make sure that value didn't change. So I see this breakpoint and yes, we get hold on, I have to click here. Selected target is our porcupine again. And this will bubble up into my combat arena, it's the battle manager, right? Var target battler, we're going to print it next. So I do F7. And it's that position 2D, but it's actually a battler. Just extends from position 2D. The one thing I want to make sure, because right now this is fine. If okay, so for now, if the battler is in the party group, we're going to store, okay, so we're going to have the target variable above. So if the battler is in the party group, the target, we're going to get it from the interface. Else, we're going to select it at random. So target equals a random index modulo targets.size. Temp random selection for the monsters, because there's no artificial intelligence at the moment. And F7 to continue. Okay, so we get that. Print the target here, and we had a breakpoint after that. Okay, all good. We have a breakpoint every time, so F7. Hold on. I removed the breakpoint. Where is it? It's in another script. So I can choose who I'm going to attack. Okay, the breakpoints didn't update properly, so I've got to restart. Maybe I forgot to save the script, that's why. Alright, so I can select the target to attack. I can see, it's faint, but you can see the character blinking on the left. And one thing we can do then from the interface is to make the selected monster blink. So the next thing we're going to do is on the select arrow, we want to place it properly, we want to animate the movement, and we want to orient it in the right direction to face the target. I'm not sure how to best do that, but at least when we call select target, so on ready, we're going to hide you, then we're going to show you at the start of select targets and hide you at the end. Okay. And then we are going to, once we show the arrow, so we show it after we placed it, we're going to get its animation player, and we're really going to store it. Let's go to the select arrow scene. So as usual, I'm going to store it at the top on ready variable anim player. It's going to be animation player, and we're going to play not setup copy. I forgot to rename the animation. Animation name is gonna be wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Ah, it's hard to say. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There you go. Okay, the arrow did not show up. So we hide it on ready and it doesn't show here. Hold on, visible equals true. Okay, is it the fact that I hid it at the start that's creating this effect? No. This is only animating the position. The start state is fine here. Where is it? So you shouldn't be visible here. Is it placing it that doesn't work? Let's see. What did I mess up? Hold on. Yeah, as usual. Okay. I see the issue. This is that. Okay, let's use the animation player in Godot. It doesn't work. It animates the node in with absolute coordinates, so it's resetting the position to 0, and as this node is really moving itself globally in the scene, it's in the interface, so it's not parented to any of the monsters themselves. We have to change that. So, okay. We're going to call you select arrow. This is going to be the sprite, and it's going to have the animation player that should just animate the sprite. Okay, so doesn't take too much refactoring here. Save, and I really want to move the script, select arrow. Can I no, I can't move it here, right? Okay, so we're going to clear the script and add it back to the top node. There we go. It's been updated here. We're going to put you wherever outside of the camera view. Wherever. And it should extend position 2D. And obviously now this path to the anim player is messed up, so it's sprite / animation player. With that, yes, our code is fine. So now the arrow animates as you'd expect. We can also scale it and still get the animation. Monsters attack a random target. And we can win the battle. Player didn't lose. Okay, it's fine. Now let's just try to find print statements. And okay, it's not the one I want to see. It's crazy how big that is, though. Wonder. Okay, so print. Player last, print the target. Okay, so we want to remove this print statement and the last one as well. Print the bar's value. Don't need it. All right. Hmm. One hour 40 minutes already. God, time flies by. Okay, I'm just wrapping this issue up, and then we will we'll finish this up. So wrap up the stream for today. Let's see. I want to do a bit of exercise next. All right, get status. It's a bit messy, so we're going to first add the select arrow. So git add select arrow, and should have I want all the assets here. Add the select arrow to select targets on the battlefield. So for now it's not generalized, like you can only select one target at once. You can't select multiple targets just yet. It would be nice to have that later, where I don't remember how they did it in Final Fantasy. You had the ability to in the older games, you could press left, like if you were against the monsters, you could press left again to duplicate the arrow. And on a given skill, you could use a version that was targeted at one monster, or a weaker version that would target all the minions on the field. And same thing for healing. I think that was Final Fantasy 5 or 6, or both, maybe. You could go right, and would take the arrow, duplicate it, change, make it blink a little bit. And then you could heal all the characters at once, but with the spell half as strong. We're going to add next turn Q boss life bar. Okay, because I've removed the print statement. Let's see. Sorry, get diff turn Q. What did I change there? Turn Q. We're going to and then the boss life bar. And I think for the rest we can add everything at once. Yeah, I think it's kind of related. So git add everything, and we're going to commit it as the thing that solves the issue. So allow the player to select a target to attack. Closes, which issue number? Number 1. And we can push these little changes already. So yeah, that Docker explanation. You use Docker to run up mini services on servers. You isolate apps in self-contained, shielded containers that can then publish in a repository and spin up as you need them on your servers. Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud both virtualize entire servers. Docker virtualizes just, individual app services, etc. Though I think Google Cloud also does a lot with Docker as well. It's also heavily used for continuous integration. Whether you check in a PR the whole build and the checking process, whenever you check a pull request, the whole build and checking process is done with Docker. Okay, I see. So, yeah, I was going to say encapsulate, but it's what the name suggests. It puts your app in a box and allows it to run safely, separated for everything else on your server. Is that it? So if something goes wrong, it goes wrong inside the Docker and doesn't mess everything up. All right, so next up, I do want to place that arrow properly, and that is where it can get a little tougher. So to place that arrow right now I'm setting it to the active target's position, which is the battler's position. It does have an anchor, which is, where is it, by the way? I don't remember. I was offsetting something. Did I forget to commit it, or did I mess up my code somehow? Hold on. Target offset distance. I see it here. So the visualize target global position. There you go. We have a field for that already pre-made. That's what I thought. So instead, we're going to, so you're not going to be node 2D, but I'm going to move to a battler. Okay, and it's target global position every time. Place you on the target global position, and we move to target global position. All right. Now, next problem. Yes, it's not pointing in the right direction. And to flip it, how do we do that? Okay, I want to have the flipping happen here. So for now, I'm going to put it in there. So global position and flip. Okay, scale X is going to be equal to minus 1.0 if target active dot is in group party. Not great, but else is in group monster, else 1.0. All right, so that should fix the orientation. There you go. Simple fix, not the best, but simple fix for now. And what else do we want? Well, it's working well. I just want to add some smooth motion when we move the character. So we're going to add a twin node. store it in this variable here, tween, and we're going to use it in move2. So tween dot interpolate property. We're going to interpolate south global position from the current global position. Okay, so hold on, I've got to... I really hope that at some point someone will write a beautifier for GDScript, which would be very convenient for long method calls like these. Global position, we're going to... What's the next argument? Final value, so battler target position, target global position. And then for the easing, we're going to use tween dot, well, tween dot transition whatever cubic is going to be fine. Ease, hold on. Duration, okay, my bad. 0.3, well, we're going to export a transition duration, move duration. It's going to be a floating point value, and it's going to be equal to 0.2 by default, something like that. It has to be snappy. Transition not back. We're going to use cubic. Cubic is a good one. And ease, let's try in out for now. See what it gives us. And we have to start the tween, otherwise we don't get anything. True. Okay, it's too slow. Thing is, it registers the calls, so at least that's fine. Okay, we're going to divide you by 2. In out, we're just going to try ease out then. Oh, and I forgot to use transition duration here. Move duration, sorry. And I should really use sync script and scene changes because... Ah, there you go. Then we can pimp it up later, refine it, but that's the basic done for us. I would really love well, for this game, it's going to be out of scope for this series and all for now. Especially as Godot is in alpha, you don't want the project to... Godot 3.1 is in alpha. You don't want to make a project that's too big because things can still change in the final version. The more content you have, the larger the demo, the more stuff you will have to fix later. And I would rather make experience making more games with Godot. So this is soon going to be done, and the next step will be to make graphics. But for the arrow, we have the smooth motion, and that is pretty nice. So what did we change? I think we just need to commit to add the select arrow, and we're going to add that as arrow face, the monsters, the target. Make the arrow face the target and animate and move smoothly between targets. Well, I should... Ah, true, it's not It's pure Vim, it's not Emacs. Okay, git diff. What's the change in there? I never know when it changes the dependencies and... Never know if I have to commit these. Well, we're going to add it to the commit. Yeah. Edit that and push. Alright, we're getting to a 2-hour stream. Not too bad for this one. I want to take a break, do a bit of exercise, and get back to it later. I should really add a picture now in this page. Also maybe record a short video to introduce the project on the channel. But what did we do today? We added the turn order. Now the characters attack based on their speed. If I go to the job and expand the starting stats, the monsters, the characters have speed that is used to determine the turn order. And we also added the ability to select the target we are going to attack. And everything's working well right now. So we have the full battle loop. All that's left is the intro, having the characters enter. So I don't know exactly how, maybe the monsters all appear with an offset and the characters like a short intro animation sequence. And so have a battle transition. So transitioning in, the characters appear. You have the fight. When the fight ends, transition out. And that will make it for this simple demo. Then I'll have to ask some help. If Bastien and Yobi, one thing I'd like to ask you, or any developer who's watching right now, I want to have a command system in the game. So the battler, the base scene, right now there's only the attack command and it's selected automatically for the player. But I want to have commands that are different. For example, the mage, if you have a mage class, you may have a mage magic or spell action, for example. Or I want it to be a bit like, again, Final Fantasy VI, where different characters had different commands. The only thing with that is the way you code it. The point is also to have the little window, when you're going to select the action that you want to make, to have it automatically generated based on the command, so have the icon, etc. in here. My problem is, the commands have an execute function, and there's an actor that executes it and a target, but then I always have a dependency on the battler itself, and the battler here needs to have, for example, that attack function. Is there no way around this? Because that's the thing. Ricardo, command already live. Yeah, so really the point of the action, of the combat action, is that the interface can register it and that I can disable the combat action, etc. Instead of having pure functions on the battler, I create a layer, like you can compose the actions, but these, and it tells you when the execution is done, so it can yield on functions and animations. Right now it's very bare bones, but it does have a description, and it's going to have an icon, and the icon would be an image texture or a sprite. Ricardo's asking, wouldn't it be better to move the commands inside the classes? No, that the whole point is to use composition, so that right now the attack action is on every battler, but this means that in any inherited battler can just put actions and remove them based on the skills that the character learns, etc. So you definitely don't want to put that, to have to inherit on every class from the battler and adding new functions, etc. And putting things that are UI related, like this command system, because you may want to access these commands from the character's menu. So when you go to the menu, you open the menu on the world map. You are not in battle, but you do want this data to be on a general character. Right now, it will need refactoring later, whatever happens. But these commands you really want, if you can decouple them from the specific battlers, it's always better. But for now, I don't see an alternative to calling I do need to call the function on the battler at some point. I do need to play some animation or something. Good morning, Nigel. And Ricardo, you did the commits, right, yesterday. So sorry I closed. I was explaining it at the start of the stream, but sorry, with GitHub was not working yesterday. And so the PR, I implemented the functionality you were adding, but the PR with the characters initiative, I closed it inadvertently. I wanted to just comment, and I did close and comment, but GitHub was broken the entire day, so I could not fix it. But anyway, now I've coded that, and as I told you, it would be best if you want to contribute. It's really welcome. But as the project is just getting started, there's not so much of a README and all right now. So I'm still working on the core systems, and I can be touching almost all the files that are here. So it's best if we can work on things that, like, I have to finish this pretty quickly to produce tutorials as well. So yeah, I can't wait on reviews and all just right now. If you want to work on the ARPG demo, however, there are issues open, and you can open new issues and work on the improvements that you want. This is probably a better project to contribute to right now. This one. One thing, if there are not too many things that are there are a few issues here, but you can open new ones, suggest more changes and improvements, and yeah, this project. This one I'm not touching as much, even if I'm fixing bugs as people report them. Yobi is asking, can you use lambdas in Godot? No, not yet. It's coming in the future, though. You can use function references. Logic that handles interacting could be in a lambda, but might work as a subcomponent. And then it takes over the logic of, say, showing the needed UI, list of spells, etc. Yeah, so that part is not the problem. My problem is the exact execute function where I'm making these attack components, but yeah, I guess I have to do duck typing here or use a polymorphism or something. So my thing was, when you execute the action, how do you make sure that the battler always has the action? But I'm stupid. It's just you must use something like assert that actor dot has the method that you want to call, and in the attack action it would be attack, for example, something like that. Selecting a spell, the spell may just be another menu option that takes over and handles selecting the enemy logic. Maybe I had no chain lighting, only hits the front row or back. Yeah, definitely there are no spells and skills just yet, but that's the idea, to separate them each using a subclass. I don't know yet, but I was looking to try the subclass sandbox pattern, because that would make for a nice tutorial. So having a base class with, well, a base node for the spells with base functionality, and compose that functionality in specific spells or skills. But the thing is, it's all, when I'm doing these demos for tutorials, it's always hard to find the right scope, and because if you have 2 or 3 spells, and if you make a game where you only have, the character only has a few skills, you just hard code them, more or less. You just make one node or one function or set of functions just for the skill, and you're not going to use patterns or anything. You're not going to use composition so much. Say you make a platform action game where you can throw, you have 3 weapons. You're just going to code these 3 weapons separately, or maybe have a base weapon class, but you don't do so much. And here the thing is, the demo is not going to have so much content at first, so yeah, I should keep things simple. Okay, thanks. The talking, with people helps to get a fresh perspective on the problem. Okay, it's all good. It's all good. I think I'm going to keep working in that direction. If they don't have the attack option, what would it be on the list of choices? It won't be. It's not if they don't have the attack method, but yeah, makes sense. Totally makes sense. But yeah, it's more about having an assert, I guess, here at the start. But right now, it's fine. It's fine because attack is on the base battler class for now. Doesn't the type of attack change the type of target? For now, no. Individual targets. We'll see at some point. I'm just trying to build a simple demo for tutorials, and the thing is, every abstraction that you're going to add will make the tutorials much harder to produce and things to cover, because as you start to split things up, you start to make it harder to give a continuous thread of thought and to cover specific techniques and to focus on them in a video or in a tutorial. Yeah, duck typing, rubber ducking. Okay, thank you everyone. we're going to close the stream here. Thank you kindly for joining again, and there will be more. So I'm getting to the end of the combat system, the base thing. There's going to be, I want to make a stream about art. Okay, have a safe ride to work, and thank you all for joining. And that said, be creative, have fun. See you in the next one, and I'm stopping the stream. Yep.